Hola chicos y buenos días. Hoy es martes, el 12 de mayo de 2020 y aquí estamos en la última semana de escuela. La semana que viene vamos a simplemente, creo que tenemos 2 días, pero casi terminamos. Entonces aquí estamos. Hoy día tienen un trabajo muy importante. Yo puedo cargar la aplicación de la tienda de Apple o la tienda de Google Play y puedo completar una práctica de conversación y discurso en la aplicación AP. So today I'm just going to walk you through downloading that app and how I want you guys to take the exam. We've done this a million times, but there's just a couple little kinks here and there I want to go over. And then we'll just practice all week and then you'll be done. This is an awesome opportunity for you guys to all get an A because we've been able to just hone in and focus on speaking every day. You've been showing up to class, doing your mini speakings. So I'm just really excited for you guys. Okay. So for Android, you go to Google Play. For smartphones, you go to the Apple Store. You might have to delete some storage space if you're like me. I just went through and I went to my settings button and I deleted some downloads that I didn't need anymore from like looking at documents online that I don't need. Another easy thing to do is you remove a game that you put on there yourself that you know you can put back that's free and make some space. If you're borrowing a phone or a tablet from a parent or a friend, make sure you have permission to remove things because certain things are very important to people on their devices. Okay, so when you go to download the app, it looks like this. It says AP World Language Exam. Careful when you look for it because there's AP History, there's other AP exam apps out there that might confuse you, and you need this one that looks like this, AP World Language Exam. Okay, once you have it downloaded, when you first open the app, you can do some clicking and it'll let you do a practice mode where you don't have to enter any information like your exam ticket or anything like that. So get it ready so that it's in practice mode. And then before you do anything else after that, I want you to get prepared for the exam just like you will on exam day. So on exam day, I want you to get your workbook out and I want you to open it up to page 24. Okay. Go over what it takes to get a 5 on this exam. So I think you have the opportunity to get a 5. So you need to maintain the exchange with a series of responses that are clear, appropriate with the context of the task. So remember, you have 20 seconds for each response. Provide the required information. So you have to answer the questions or support it with your opinion and elaborate frequently. Make sure you're fully understandable with ease and clarity of expression. And if you have occasional errors, that they do not impede the comprehensibility of what you're saying. So you can have errors, but don't let it stop you from making your points or getting through the conversation. Varied and appropriate vocabulary and idiomatic expression. You can plan for that. Every conversation is going to require greetings and goodbyes. Every conversation is going to have you expressing emotion of some sort, either interest or giving advice. So you can plan for those things. Excuse me, Mr. Cruz. Accuracy and variety in grammar, syntax, usage with few errors. You can also plan for that. Mostly consistent use of register appropriate for the conversation. The conversation is typically in the to form. I don't want to throw you off if they were to put a new stud in there, but it's typically informal. Pronunciation, intonation, and pacing make the response comprehensible. Errors do not impede the comprehensibility. Remember that it's easy to be a comprehensible pronouncer. You do not need to have a native sounding accent. You just need to know how the words are spelled and be able to say them so that other people know what you're saying in your mind. You don't have to have spelling on this, it's a speaking. But you get my point. Clarification or self-correction to improve your comprehensibility. If you do make a mistake, don't let it fluster you or upset you. And if you know that you made a mistake with like gender or a number, just say it again really quickly and move on. I have to do that all the time in my speech, both English and Spanish. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Okay, next I want you to go over the next page, which talks about ways that you can really impress the speakers or the listeners. So initiate, maintain that conversation on a familiar topic. Formulate questions, seek clarification or additional information. Write right in your Spanish book what you're planning on saying for these. Recognize cultural elements implicit in oral text. So if they're talking about a topic that you know has cultural significance, you can mention something along those lines. Interpret linguistic cues to infer social relationships. If you know it's a friend, you can use a little bit less formal and be like, hola amigo, ¿cómo estás? Qué bueno oír de ti. If it's a more of a formal relationship, you would use more formalities like buenos días. ¿En qué le puedo ayudar? How can I help you? That kind of stuff. Remember this page we did together? Take a look over it. See what you're going to plan on saying. And then finally, I've given you this index of expressions used for oral communication. So look over those. Use a highlighter to highlight things that you're thinking you might want to say. This page you guys will not get. You're not going to get the schema of the language exam for the conversation like we practiced. It's because it's on an app. I don't think they wanted to overcomplicate things. Actually, it's a good thing that you don't have to read the schema, because in the schema, they would often tell you that you had to say something specific, and it would confuse a lot of you. So all of your answers are your personal choice of what to say. Now, yes, it's good for you to answer questions with details and be excited about things or be sad about things. So show emotion when you're doing it. It's good for you to ask a follow-up question, give advice, and so on. So just kind of look at that schema. Hey, look at that schema and see what kind of things you should be doing. Okay, good one. All right, so when you get to the speaking exam, you have reviewed all these things and you're like ready to go, chomping at the bit. Have paper out, because you do get a minute to plan. Maybe if I were you, I would plan right on this paper, page 25. Like if you have some ideas already for what to say. Okay. After that, go to the interpersonal speaking page. All this is written in the directions. 35. And do the same thing. Go over specifically how you can get a 5 on your exam speaking for the cultural comparison. Okay. In here, remember that part of that cultural comparison is using products, practices, and perspectives of both your culture and the target culture. I love that when we practice that you guys would give it 110%, but I want you to keep in mind something very important. You do not need to give data or facts that a person would have to look up online. Okay? So like a lot of times you guys would cite specific sources and stuff. That's not possible in this section of the exam. So what you need to do is, when you have those 2 minutes to plan, you need to brainstorm a product, a practice, or a perspective that you can mention in your speaking. And not trying to be overly specific with data that you would have looked up online. Okay? And then once you have some ideas of the different things you want to throw back and forth to compare the two cultures, use the language that we have practiced for. Okay? So you can have this schema of framework of language on page 37 in front of you. And you can just kind of highlight things that you plan on saying, or you can have things written down on your paper in the 2 minutes you have to plan. The last page, page 38, has more language for transitions, for introducing ideas and concluding your speech. Okay? When you've gone over those 2 sections in your workbook, have blank paper out for when you go to do the exam practice today. This world language app is for all world language students. So when you go to complete the 2 tasks as a practice today, the speaker is in English. Please record your answer speaking in Spanish for practice. Okay. When you're done, it'll say you can exit the exam, you've done your practice. Okay. Okay, kiddos. So I know you were here today and I don't have to call your house and follow up with you. Please let me know in the Flipgrid today, ¿cómo te fue la experiencia de usar la aplicación? How was your experience? Fácil, difícil. ¿Tienes un plan para sacar un 5 en el examen de hablar? What is your plan to get a 5 on this exam? Because I know everybody has that opportunity. Remember that the practices I made you do were a little bit harder than what I think AP is going to ask you to do. And you can see that today in the examples. An easy conversation with someone named David, and then there's the topic for presentation is good teachers. So I know you guys will have a million things to say about that. Okay, that is it for today. Just let me know that you made it into the app and what your thoughts were on it and what your plan is. I'm so excited for you guys. We're almost done. I'm not planning on giving you any more like serious work, just practices each day. So it's really just class participation, and I'm going to be looking for those old workbook pages that you turned in last week or maybe even 2 weeks ago. Okay, chicos, vamos. Adiós.